there fellow Pokepimps, welcome to another SamUtari Presents, and today we're going to be talking about the Pokemon DreamWorld. Now, this isn't something that's too new, but then at the same time it's not too old either since it's exclusive to 5th generation, and it's moving on to the 6th generation. So let's just begin by talking about the basics of what DreamWorld is. And what DreamWorld is, it's a separate universe of the Pokemon world where basically you tuck in a Pokemon and then you get to go into their dreams. That's the whole basic concept behind it. And so you tuck in a Pokemon and you get to go into their dreams and you get to see what they're dreaming. And not only do you get to go into this whole separate online community, which is the DreamWorld, but basically you find Pokemon in the DreamWorld that you can bring back with you to your game. Also, you can play some mini games, you can grow berries, you can find items such as revives, repels, different type of Pokeballs like timer balls and repeat balls and even dusk balls. You find battle items too, like steel gems and ghost gems and etc. And so today I'm just going to quickly, and I do mean quickly, go over how to use the Pokemon DreamWorld, how to get there, and etc. Notice that these instructions are basically gonna suck because I've already logged into DreamWorld and there's like a whole separate little dealio that you have to, like this whole separate process that you have to go through before you can begin DreamWorld. So I'm gonna go over that real quick, and then once I'm done with that I'll show you how to log into DreamWorld, what you do while in DreamWorld, and then once I get out of DreamWorld we'll discuss the entry link and what to do once you get to the entry link and etc. So I'll be back in just a moment and then we'll discuss on how to do this thing. Alright, so looking at your C gear on your bottom screen of your game, this is basically what it's going to look like in general. Obviously you have your Wi-Fi. It shows that your Wi-Fi signal is working up in the top right corner. You have IR on the far left side, in the middle you have online, and then on the right side you have wireless. Now IR is basically your passing. Whenever you're passing someone, that's your feelings checks, those are your surveys, I do believe, and that's basically that's all that it is. Now, the online section, that's where you're going to go into your game sync, which is what you're going to have to do in order to start this actual process. And then your wireless is where you have your entry link. And the entry link is what you're going to need after you exit the Dreamworld in order to claim the Pokemon that you found, along with any items that you might have transferred over to your actual game, depending on which game you're using. Now, the Dreamworld, it works for black, white version 2, and black version 2, so don't get discouraged if you're like, I don't have the original black and white. It's okay, because they actually work on both versions, so it's not really that big of a deal. So the first thing in actually beginning this process is you're going to have to get on the Pokemon Global link, and the Global link isn't actually located on your actual game, it's on a website. So for the Pokemon Global link, you're going to have to go to www.pokemon/gl.com. That website will also be in the description, and if that one doesn't work, I have a multitude of different links because some computers can be finicky. Now what you're going to do whenever you get on the global link is obviously you're going to be given the option to register an account if you don't already have one, because they will ask you to log in with a username and a password. So if you haven't already created an account, which if you're watching this for the first time to learn how to use DreamWorld, you probably don't have one, so what you're going to do is you're actually going to create an account, and then of course you have to put in your email, have a username, have a password, verify the email, the typical stuff whenever you're signing up for a website. After you've signed up for the website, then you actually have to go back to your DS. So after you create an account on Pokemon GL, what you're going to do is you're going to get onto your game and go to the start menu. Now instead of continuing your game, what you're going to do is you're actually going to go down, and there should be an option called Game Sync option, or Game Sync. Anything that says Game Sync on it. And what you're going to do is you have to make sure that you have Wi-Fi available at that moment, because what's going to happen is you're going to go into this Game Sync menu, or Game Sync option, and it's going to ask you if you want to save your game online. And you're going to say yes to this, because what it's going to do is it's going to take all your information, meaning your friend code, your Pokemon, everything. It's going to take all your information, it's going to put it on online storage, and it's basically going to save it to your Pokemon GL account. and this is going to be needed for later use. So you're going to go ahead and go through that process. Now, once your game has been synced online, the game sync option is actually going to give you a code. This code can be however long. I think it can only be like a certain amount of letters and numbers, but it will be all uppercase letters, and it's going to be a mixture of uppercase letters and numbers. And what you're going to do is you're going to have to write this key, this ID, or however you want to say it, this code. You're going to write it down someplace safe, because now what you got to do is you're going to get back on your Pokemon GL online, and you're going to use the game sync there. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click on the option called game sync. If that's no longer part of the menu, then you're going to click on DreamWorld, and it'll probably remind you that you haven't registered your game via the game sync. And it should link you to where you need to do that. But there's going to be a spot on Global Link where it's going to ask you to register your game. And when it says they want you to register your game, they're asking for your game sync code. And so you're going to input this code where it wants you to, and then once you do that, then a little window will pop up showing what game version it is. Make sure it's the right version so that you didn't type in the code wrong. But it's going to show you the game version, your trainer name, it's going to give you, sometimes it shows you your badges. So basically just make sure that this is the right game, and then it'll ask you, do you want to register this game? And to that you're of course going to say yes. Now, once your game is registered, meaning you've gotten on Pokemon GL, you've created your account, you've done the game sync on your game or on your DS, now you have the code, you registered that code on Pokemon GL. Once all of this is finished, which it does not take that long, I swear, assuming that you do have Wi-Fi available and you don't have to go to McDonald's. Once all this is done, you are then able to get on to your actual game and use the game sync option within your game, not on the main menu, but within your game, to tuck in a Pokemon, and you can start enjoying a whole bunch of different features. You can do the Wi-Fi competitions if they have any, promotions online to get new Pokedex skins, new musicals, and etc. All of those are available, as well as the DreamWorld, which of course for right now is going to be the most important of our features. And so now that you have all of this done, we can start enjoying those features, and I'm going to explain to you how to tuck in a Pokemon. Now, the Pokemon game sync is something that is not really complicated to use. Going back to the picture I showed you before of your C gear, what you're going to do is you're going to click on that middle column. It's the blue one, and it says online. Now, whenever you click on that, the only option that's going to come up is this picture here, and it's going to have a flashing button which is going to say game sync. Now, in order to use the game sync, you of course have to be able to access the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, meaning you have to have a WPA or WEP type internet, and it has to be working properly. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on this game sync. Now when you do that, it's going to take you to a menu that has a Musharna on it, or however you say it. I say Musharna, but it's going to have Musharna on it, and it's basically going to ask you if you want to use the game sync, and you say yes, and it says, do you want to connect to the Wi-Fi, the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection? Oh, and it'll also ask you if you want to save your game, and always save your game, because you never know what's going to happen. So basically you're going to save your game, and then it's going to ask you if you want to access the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. You're going to access the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, and what should happen after it connects is you should be instantly taken to your PC. Now when you're taken to your PC, you get to choose a Pokemon out of your PC that you want to tuck in and put to sleep. Now most of the Pokemon, meaning like 98% of them, can actually be tucked into DreamWorld. I've seen Mewtwo's and Reshurams put in there. I've tucked in my Victini before. So I'm not really sure what Pokemon cannot be tucked in, but I know that there are a few that cannot be tucked in, or cannot be tucked in properly at least. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick a Pokemon out of your PC that you want to tuck in. You're going to click it, and then it's going to say, okay, do you want to tuck this Pokemon in? It'll say the Pokemon's name. And then you select yes, unless you don't want that Pokemon, in which case you'd say no, go back to your PC, and you'd click again and pick a different one. So after you've pressed yes, the Pokemon will be picked up, dropped on a little fuzzy bed, and placed under the covers, and it'll start to say, tucking this Pokemon in, please do not turn off the power. And that's basically where the whole DreamWorld process begins. Now, the tucking in process might take a few minutes. It takes me a little longer because the internet here is not as powerful. so it does take me a little bit. But after the Pokemon has been successfully tucked in, you'll start to hear this weird noise, and it's supposed to be the Pokemon snoring. And a message will come up saying, "Congratulations, so-and-so was tucked in, they are sleeping soundly." And when they are sleeping soundly, that's when you know that the DreamWorld process has now begun. Alright, here you go. I found you an image. Yeah, this is basically what it's going to look like. When the Z's appear, it means your Pokemon's sleeping soundly, and if the text reads that your Pokemon is sleeping soundly, then you're basically done with the game sync. And what it's going to do is Musharna will, basically pop back up, and it'll say that you're disconnecting from the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. And this is basically where your process will start offline, because after you've been connected to disconnected from the Wi-Fi connection, the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, what's going to happen is you're actually going to go back to the place where you last were whenever you tucked in your Pokemon, whether that be a Pokemon Center or an area. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to save your game and then turn the game off, because now the game basically has no function as of right now, and the rest will be handled on PokemonGL.com. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going ahead and cut to me actually exploring the DreamWorld and basically showing you how I log in and everything else. So bear with me here as I log into DreamWorld. My computer will get kind of slow because when I'm running the screen capture process and I'm trying to actually do DreamWorld at the same time, my poor computer tends to get a little heated. So the games will be kind of slow. I know some of you will get frustrated watching me play these damn mini games, but trust me, it's necessary if you want to figure out how DreamWorld works and what's going on. So let's go ahead and cut to the video, and I will join you back here in just a moment. Now, after starting off in the DreamWorld and going through the loading process, what's going to happen is you're going to be taken to your home on the Dream Island, or basically on your tiny little space. And for people logging in for the first time, this is good because you have the scientist who will then give you a tutorial on everything. So there's no real need for me to go over stuff, but I'll just kind of explain it anyways. If you click on the welcome mat, it'll show you what people have already been to your house, and any Pokemon they had with them, which will be nobody, since you just started. And also, you have some arrows which you can click on, which will then take you to the left or right. I believe going to the left takes you to your garden, whereas going to the right takes you to your share shelf. Your share shelf being a place where you can put all the items you find that you don't need, and people can come and swap out items with you, which is a really neat feature for socializing with other people and getting to know other people, and maybe grabbing some good items too. At least that's my understanding of it. But going into your house is fully customizable. The book on the dresser, or on the drawer, is called the Dream Catalog, and berries here are the currency. The lady will give you 5 whenever you first sign up. They're Oka berries. And basically berries are the currency here, and using berries that you find and plant and etc., you can actually buy furniture and Pokemon dolls and windows and everything else you want in order to basically make this space your own. The only bad part about DreamWorld is that you cannot transfer berries from your game to the DreamWorld, but you can actually transfer things from the DreamWorld back to your game. The treasure chest is where all the items you will find will be stored. This will be for berries, in-game items, and etc. So naturally, things like revives, repels, the different type of Pokeballs that you find, berries, gems, etc., 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 all of that will be stored in your treasure chest. And when you click on your treasure chest, it'll show you all the items you currently have waiting in DreamWorld, and it'll have a button next to those items where it'll have the option to send. Basically, when you send, what you're doing is you're saying that you want to take these items back with you from DreamWorld to put them into your game. The berries won't really have much of a purpose. Most of them don't do anything, but you can sell them to a maniac in the game, a gourmet maniac, for about 500 in-game currency, which isn't too bad. And then, of course, the revives and the repels actually come in handy. And even if they really have no use to you, you can still put them on your share shelf or send them back to your game for some money. And other than that, there's the green board in your room, which is called the friend board. And what that's going to do is that's going to show you all the Pokemon that you want to take back with you. to your game in order to add them to your PC or add them to your party. But we're going to explain that a little bit later, and I want to show you the other parts of DreamWorld. So as I said, you have your share shelf, but there's really nothing to the share shelf. You just click a space and it asks you what you want to put in there. But one of the things in DreamWorld is you have your berry garden. And what you're going to do is you're only going to start out with 2 plots of land, which each have 3 spaces. And it gives you the option then to plant berries. And as I said before, berries are currency here. You need berries to make a wish at the dream tree. Sometimes you need a berry to play a game with a Pokemon that you want to take back, which you have to play a game with them in order to take them back. So always make sure you have a berry on you, at least 3. And so keeping in mind that berries are currency, they're needed for games and they're needed for taking a Pokemon back with you, the berry garden, it actually comes in handy. So you start out with 2 plots of land, but the more you earn dream points, which you earn by growing berries, playing mini games, making wishes, and visiting friends' dream worlds, the more dream points you get, the more plots of land will be opened up to you. Right now, currently, I am only at 3. This is, of course, a screenshot taken online, but I'm only up to 3. I don't really plan on getting a lot because it's not really a big deal, because you often find berries when you're out searching for Pokemon, so it's not anything you really have to worry about, but you gotta be smart about it too, and don't send all your berries to your game all at once just because you can. So ignoring the logo in the middle of this, it was like one of the only photos I could find without the actual screen in there, but this is called the Dream Bridge, and basically what the Dream Bridge does is you're going to click on it, and it's going to ask you, do you want to go to the Island of Dreams? You're going to click yes, and then it's going to randomly generate an area for you in which to play. I've found the the Pleasant Forest, the Rugged Path, the Icy Cave, and the Pokemon Dream Park, and and the Haunted Mansion. Like, those are like the 4 or 5 places that I've been able to generate so far. I don't know if there's more. I don't know if there's, a few more places that maybe I haven't found. But these are just the places I've been to. And you can't choose which one you go to. It's randomly generated. So you might go to the Rugged Path 3 times. You might get stuck in the Icy Cave all day. That's the thing about DreamWorld. The DreamWorld only has a limit of 1 hour. So once you get in there, don't go eat breakfast or don't go eat lunch or go talk to a friend on the phone. Like, you only have an hour to play once you've logged in, and the DreamWorld will automatically shut you out after that hour. And if you don't have any Pokemon that you wished for, all the Pokemon you met within that day get lost. You can only take 1 Pokemon back with you per day, as far as I've seen. Yes, you can only take 1 Pokemon back with you per day. The DreamWorld takes 24 hours to recharge itself before you can play again. And the Pokemon that you met recently, say I play and I have 10 Pokemon and I take 1 back with me. Well, the 9 Pokemon left over, whenever you go back into DreamWorld, those will no longer be options for you to pick at the Dream Tree if you log back in. So choose wisely. That's the lesson of this, is choose wisely. Some people go into DreamWorld in order to get Pokemon with special moves, because the DreamWorld Pokemon sometimes have special abilities and already come with special moves. Some people log into DreamWorld to fill up their Pokedex, like me, because you have a lot of Pokemon from, 3rd gen and back. You can find 1st gen, 2nd gen, 3rd gen Pokemon just kind of laying around, and so it really helps to kind of fill up your Pokedex if you're logging in every day and finding a new Pokemon and taking it back with you. But yeah, so you're going to cross the Rainbow Bridge and you're going to go to the Island of Dreams. And then that's when your real adventure begins, I guess I should say. So anyways, whenever you go into DreamWorld and it generates a place for you, which this picture shows the Rugged Path, basically what you're going to do is you're given 10 steps. And the directional arrows show up, and you get to choose where you want to go. Now, if you see something in the grass or in the rocks and it's sparkling, and you click it, you're going to find an item. Now, this can be berries, in-game items, as I've explained before. You can find rare candies and repels. It just doesn't, I don't think there's anything that determines what you find. I think it's just based on the area and how lucky you get. But also, if you see something shaking and you click it, a wild Pokemon's going to pop out. Now, you can find legendaries in the game. I've found baby Pokemon in the game, past generation Pokemon that you can't get otherwise, and even Pokemon from Black version and other opposite versions I don't own. Now, when a Pokemon pops out, it's going to ask you if you want to play a game with it, and it's going to list the game it wants to play. Now, keeping in mind, playing a game does earn you Dream Points, but with only an hour to play DreamWorld, if it's a Pokemon that you don't really need or that you don't really want, I personally would avoid playing a game with them because you can get a lot more done. So, I don't know, like Pokemon vary from place to place, I've noticed. Certain Pokemon only show up in certain places as they would in the game, and so it's just a matter of luck. I know I haven't even begun to scratch the surface on what I can find in DreamWorld, but again, you only have an hour to play, so if it's a Pokemon that you really don't need or that you really don't want, I mean, I know I feel guilty about it, but just don't play a game with it. Just skip it and move along, because there's so much to do, and there's so much ground to cover within an hour, and there's going to be so many other Pokemon that you want to take with you if your Pokedex is empty or if you're looking for special abilities. Like, your hardest part in the game is going to be basically deciding which one out of all of them that you found that you want to take back with you via the Dream Tree at the end. As I stated before, there are games that you can play with your Pokemon that you find. So far I've played the Candle Blowout one, the Sky Race, which is my favorite, the Whalmer, playing on the ice, scooping ice cream, and depending on what type of score you get, depends on if that Pokemon is happy or not. If the Pokemon's happy, it'll follow you back if you choose it at the Dream Tree, but if you do not get a high enough score and you disappoint the Pokemon, it will refuse to follow you back to the Dream Tree, or from the Dream Tree, and you won't really get that Pokemon as an option, which kind of sucks. So you gotta get a high score, you gotta do good. But the biggest thing about this is, you know, making it to the end of the path and making it to the Dream Tree. Now, when you get to the Dream Tree, you're given an option to go back to your home if you did not find a Pokemon that you wanted, or if you just want to keep searching for Pokemon. But whenever you're done with your DreamWorld adventure and you've decided what Pokemon you want, you're going to go to the Dream Tree. And what you're going to do is you're going to see that the hollow is sparkling within the Dream Tree, and you're going to click on that. And when you click on the hollow, it's going to ask you if you want to place it, make a wish, and in order to do that, you have to place in a berry. And after you choose the berry that you want to pick, or that you want to place in there, and it doesn't really matter which, it'll give you a list of all the Pokemon that you really made happy during your adventure. And out of those Pokemon, you choose the one you want. It'll ask you if you want that Pokemon to join your party whenever you return. You basically choose a yes or no, and then that Pokemon is going to be sent back to your friend board. It's going to be sent back to your friend board back at your house. And now basically what you're ready to do is you're ready to exit the Dream World by pressing the little power button on the top right hand corner and basically say exit Dream World and prepare to wake up. And that way you wake up, all your items are transferred to your game, and the Pokemon that you picked is going to be waiting for you in Entralink. So we'll go ahead and explain that little bit. So really quick, I'm just going to show you my my Pokemon Dream World adventure. I'm sorry for the quality, it's going to go really, really fast. This is only like a couple minutes long. I don't know. I don't know why I'm even bother logging in. On this particular adventure, because I'm recording over this since the audio's all messed up, this particular adventure, I ended up finding a Whismur, and that's about as good as I got. Like, sometimes you have days where you do really, really well, and you find Pokemon that you really, really want. Like yesterday I found a Snover that I'd been looking for, and it had Giga Drain already, and I was really super excited. And, so here's me with my previous instructional video. No one at my friend Matt, go figure. Share shelf, berry patch. Ended up getting a lot of pineapple berries. I don't know, I grow them because I can sell them, and so even though DreamWorld's shutting down, oh god, spoiler, even though DreamWorld's shutting down here in December, basically, I go ahead and grow them anyways because I can sell them for a lot of money, and, you know, money being something that I run short of in Pokemon games often. But yeah, so basically, after my whole little berry patch thing, I ended up going to the Dream Bridge, or whatever, so that I could try and find some Pokemon, or at least give an example of it. but the damn thing started wigging out on me. And I ended up at the Icy Cave, and the thing is like, I like the Icy Cave to an extent, but I always end up running into Soul Rocks, Lunatones, Cubones, and things I really don't need. And I'm not an IV breeder or an EV trainer, so I don't really know much about Pokemon abilities, and I don't really care. And here's me playing the ice game, and like, this one's not too bad of a game. It's pretty simple. Just pick up the sweets by clicking on the paths. So Spiel was happy, but I already had one, so in the end I'm not going to choose him anyways. Besides, this is just to give you a little bit of a sample. There's a glowing thing. I got a revive, which I will send back because revives are expensive. I need to figure out how to buy max revives. Found a pass orb, which is for your entry, so that you can get pass powers. There's a ball toy. So, I think this is the Whalmer game? Yeah. And this is one of my favorites just because it's really super simple. Basically, you just click, launch the Pokemon into the air. They have to hit the balls, which look just like them. You get multipliers, and etc, 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 etc. So, poor Piplup got no love. I ended up dropping him in the ocean a lot. And then, yeah. And then you end up at the Dream Tree. And I chose no one. Those are all the Pokemon I've taken back with me so far. Those are all the items I'm going to take back with me. And I don't know why this audio is so slow on this, but I'm probably going to end up erasing the audio out of here and returning it to changing it to something different. But yeah, and that was basically my adventure in DreamWorld. Okay, so now we're back at the DS, and so you've logged back in to your game, or turned on your game. You've woken up your Pokemon by going to the online menu, clicking Game Sync again, and waking up your Pokemon. And now you're back at your menu where it's going to show you, you're going to go to the far right of your C gear where it's going to say wireless, and you're going to click on that. And the options are X-Transceiver, which you have no use for, and then your Entralink. And what you're going to do is you're going to click on the Entralink. Now, when you click on the Entralink, it's going to warp you to a brand new zone. The Entry Forest or Entralink Forest or whatever, which is on your map, but I don't think you can fly to it. I think you can only warp to it. But anyways, it's going to warp you to that spot. You can't warp if you're inside a building, so at least make sure you're outside before you do this. So warping to the Entralink Forest, you show up to the Entry, which that little thing's supposed to be a tree, and it spirals upwards as you do like weird missions with your friends. To the right of you, you actually have a place where you can connect to your friends' worlds, so that you can go do missions with them, which are like finding berries and doing weird stuff. It's basically like a mini game thing where you just run and do a bunch of things with your friends. You earn points, and you get pass orbs, which will buy you basically power-ups within the game. And to the left is another bridge which will connect you to someone in your area. Basically, they expect you to be in a public place where everybody's playing Pokemon, and you can do a random mission with a random person which has a DS near you. So none of those things are actually essential right now. What you really need to focus on is you need to focus on the girl who is at the top part of the screen on this picture here. And she's going to be leading to a forest path, and that's where you need to go. Okay, once you're in the forest clearing, the first part of grass is where you're actually going to find the Pokemon that you ran into in the entry, or in the Dream World. The Pokemon that you chose to come back with you by making a wish at the Dream Tree. And so you place the berry in the Dream Tree, you've woken your Pokemon up, now you're in the Entralink Forest, you go to the forest clearing, and there's your Pokemon just walking around, like, sup? And so what you're going to do is you're going to go up to it, and it's going to say, so-and-so, you know, in this case, a Tauros. Tauros, you know, looks happy to see you, looks like he wants to join your party, and then it's going to say, would you like to add the Pokemon to your party? When you click yes, you're going to go into a battle cinematic, but instead of battling the Pokemon, weakening it, and catching it, what you're going to do is you won't have your Pokemon out. All you'll have an option to do is choose bag or run. And when you choose bag, it'll automatically take you to your Pokeball section, and you're going to have a Dream Ball. And using the Dream Ball automatically catches that Pokemon. So you go into your bag, you use the Dream Ball, you throw it at the Pokemon, Pokemon's caught, and suddenly you have a new Pokemon. And it's basically as simple as that. Like, people like to make it 10 times more complicated than it has to be, but really it's not. So, and that's basically the gist of it. You leave the forest clearing, you go back to where the entry is, but you keep going down on your screen. There's going to be a little portal that's like sending off orange beams. You step on that, it'll ask you if you want to go back to your world. You choose yes, you warp back to where you were, you save your game, and everything is hunky-dory. But the only thing is that there is some bad news for DreamWorld users and those wanting to get into DreamWorld for the first time. So basically, as I just mentioned, if you're a DreamWorld user, or if you want to start using DreamWorld because you've heard about it and you now can due to problems with Wi-Fi before, like I had, because I just started using DreamWorld myself and I'm very upset now, there's some bad news. Because X&Y is being released, not that it's a bad thing at all, but the DreamWorld will actually cease to exist. They will be creating a new DreamWorld for X&Y. The only problem is that it will not be backwards compatible with the 5th generation. And so the 5th generation DreamWorld and Global Link will basically be completely shut down, which will erase DreamWorld, erase GameSync, erase Entralink, and will basically make your C gear in your game completely useless. And here's the timeline for it. October 1st through the 12th, DreamWorld is going to be going under maintenance, and so tucked-in Pokemon will not be able to be woken up, as well as you cannot tuck in Pokemon during this time. If you have Pokemon tucked in, they say that there's the chance that you could lose that Pokemon, so they ask that you do wake it up before this day to make sure that nothing happens during the maintenance. October 12th, new registrations for the Pokemon Global Link will be shut down. DreamWorld will not be able to be accessed or registered to by new users, which means you cannot register games to this anymore. So yeah, new games cannot be registered, even if it's a separate version and you're already a member. The demo version of Pokemon DreamWorld will actually be shut down, so it cannot be accessed. And yeah, so if you haven't tried DreamWorld by that time, you're basically out of luck. Lastly, what's going on is you have December 10th, which will be your last chance to wake up your Pokemon. GameSync will still be available, but tucking Pokemon in will be impossible. It will no longer work. Tucked-in Pokemon can still be woken up, but that's about it. And the last day of the DreamWorld, basically, at this point, will be January 14th. That's when the Global Link will be down completely, never coming back, and sadness will reign, because, yeah, who knows when the X&Y DreamWorld will be up, and I don't know. Like, DreamWorld's a really good feature, and I'm kind of sad to see it go. But yeah, so there's your timeline. But that's all I really know at this moment. I haven't heard anything else yet. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm sorry that this took so long. Anyways, leave a like if this was informative for you and if you enjoyed watching it. Also, if you want to find me online, you can find me on my website, which is samutari.web.com, webs, and then on my Twitter, at SamUtari, and also on Facebook, on my Facebook group, which is facebook.com/SamUtari. Also, hitting subscribe would help me a lot. I like meeting new people, and also leave me a comment with your opinions on what I could do better and what you'd like to see next. But anyways, this is SamUtari out, and I will see you later. Ciao.